Hey, so what do you do when the government wants to tear down part of your house? We don't know the answers, but we're going to tell a little story because if the city of Zihuatanejo has their way, and it sounds like they're going to have their way, in 3 days they're going to bulldoze this garage right here. This all started last month, August 16th, unannounced at 7:30 in the morning. Bulldozers showed up right here in front of our house and started tearing down the street. We ran out and moved our car because they were out with weed whackers and a bulldozer and dump truck, and they were just tearing the street right here apart. At maybe 5 o'clock that evening, they put a big sign to show that they were working hard to remodel this street. Of course, this is over a month ago, and the president, Jorge Sanchez, came out and he did a little press conference right underneath us. We thought it was kind of cool. They said they were going to remodel the street, pave it. They were going to put the electrical wires above, underneath the street. All that sounded really great to us. A couple of days went by, not much happened, and then they started the work again. A week later, August 23rd, they started destroying the sidewalk here. They did that for about an hour, and then it's just been like that the last month. A week after that, August 30th at 5 p.m., somebody came by and they gave us a note and said we needed to show up to City Hall the next day because they're going to tear this garage down because they believe it's on public property. And that's where things really get interesting. So I'm going to go inside because it's pouring rain now, and I'll tell you the rest of the story. Hey, we didn't sleep very much last night. We got a notice from a young man with the city yesterday that said our garage that we built a year ago is a little bit on the public land and that we need to tear it down, or they're going to tear it down. And this was about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and that we needed to come to the city today at 2 p.m. To either explain ourselves or for them to explain what they're going to do. We don't really know.
No, we were going to be fined if we didn't show up.
Yeah, we didn't show up. We couldn't ignore this one. We're really scared because we have our meters from the electrical company on that building, and they're tearing down everything around that building right now. So we feel like, anything can happen, and we'd like to get some resolution ASAP. Yeah, it's kind of scary to feel like there's things are out of our control. We've contacted everybody that we could in the last 18 hours.
Neighbors, friends, lawyers, anyone.
Yeah, anybody we could. We do have an attorney supposedly who's going to show up today that we just talked to like an hour ago, and perhaps he'll help us. Who knows? But we really thought that we were okay. I mean, the way it's built, we can show it looks like we're still on our property, but it's all these things are kind of up in the air. I mean, nobody tells you, and it's been there a year, and we've had 1 million people from the city come out since we started building.
And hit us up for cash because they wanted money for permits or this or that.
We paid for a lot of permits, so we feel like we should be in the clear. But this is Mexico, so we're hoping that there's a solution. And we're scared. Help us. Okay, so that was August 31st out in front of the City Hall, and we were there. The attorney showed up. Luis, who's really helped us out a lot, he was there. He's our architect. And the neighbors, 2 other neighbors were called in, and one of them brought an attorney as well. So we were there about an hour, and basically they said, we're going to tear it down. So we kind of sat on that. We had an attorney, so we were trying to figure out from him what we should do. About 3 days later, we woke up. We had no water. Apparently, about a week earlier, they shut off our water and probably other people's as well, but we were the first ones to run out, it seems. Didn't tell anybody, and the street was pretty torn up. So for 1 day, we had absolutely no water. Cistern was empty. We don't check the cistern to see if we have water. The next day, that was on a Sunday morning. The next day we went out, we talked to some of the workers. You know, they basically said, you need to talk to Capas, which is the water company. So I went down there, talked to them. They called somebody up, made some calls. She was very friendly. I would say almost everybody has been very professional and friendly throughout. No one's really been, outside of maybe one or two people, has been awful to deal with. They've all been really nice. She made some calls. She said, all right, the engineer will be out later today to figure out what the problem is. We're aware of the work and we'll get it solved. Never heard from anybody. So we ended up ordering a water truck out. That was 600 pesos, but basically that buys you another week, 10,000 liters. Hopefully the water comes on within that amount of time, because the following day we had guests show up. We had a full house of 8 people, and we were concerned, conserving as much water as we could, and met with another attorney. We met with the city architect and the engineer. They came out along with one of the neighbors and their attorney, and they had a whole team of people. And basically they were like, the next step is to have what they call a perito, and he does surveys. So that's what we did. We contacted this perito who does official surveys for the city. He's licensed. He charges $300, and he'll do the markings, and he'll know if that garage is on our property or not. So that takes about a week or so. He did the survey. We thought we were in the clear. We basically, this whole time we got people saying, when are you going to tear down this garage? You know, the guys out in front. We need to get to work. When are you going to tear down this garage? So that same day that we met with the burrito, all hell kind of broke loose again on the property. Our drainage for all the toilets and the showers and the sinks started overflowing on our property. They had, the city had replaced a lot of the drainage lines on our street. They had not done ours. So I busted through what they call it, registro, which is like the kind of the line that from the house that connects to the city. It was a mess, and now we're trying to talk to somebody with the city to figure out why ours was not replaced, but everybody else's was. So that was a fun day. And that actually wasn't a day. That was a fun another week. You can't access the road at this point. Like, we're having to carry all of our garbage down to the end of the street. So just the little things that you have to think about is you got to go buy garbage bags that are like super heavy duty, so you can walk 300 yards through a mud pit and over a wood bridge, and to get the garbage there without it totally exploding. So that was fun. So and then we ended up having to, by hand, basically with cups, to dump all the poo-poo out of our registro. So that was super fun too. Again, nobody's really telling us how to get this resolved. It's just, you need to talk to Capas. Capas is like, it's not our problem. Allie, really, to her credit, I mean, she's just like, we had working sewer line. They broke it. They can't just leave it. They have to fix it. They started digging us a line. That was about 10 days ago. They spent 2 days by hand digging this line up, and then on the 3rd day, they came over and they refilled it. And this had happened for a few days prior, where they'd start to say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this work. And then they'd stop and they say, no, we can't. They say, we can't do it. So anyway, so they covered it up, but and then they ended up bringing the bulldozer back out. They dug it up, and then like that one day, which for some reason I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, they just used the bulldozer to dug a ditch, dropped the line in, and they were able to finally get that problem resolved. That's awesome. Okay, so 2 days ago, we got another notice that said we needed to show up again at City Hall the following day, which was yesterday, and then while we were there for our 2 p.m. meeting, it was just Allie and I, no attorney. I saw on our cameras they had people out in front with paperwork. It's almost like they planned it. Like, let's get them away from the house so we can serve them with some papers. So anyway, and again, I'll say by this time we still haven't done anything with the city. Our neighbors have already sued to stop the work. And we've talked to the attorneys. They're going to want between 30,000 and 60,000 pesos to start this process, $1,500 to $3,000. But 2 days ago, we know that we're on our property. We have the survey. So we go in, we get this stuff. They're basically saying the same thing. You got to tear it down. But we talked to another architect there who works for the city, and he says, bring in those documents. I didn't have the official documents. I only had like a WhatsApp message from the Perito, but he was like, I've almost got them like nice and official. So then I went home and contacted him and said, I really need these. He said, okay, I'll bring them in. I'll bring them to you the following day at 2 o'clock. So this morning I went to play pickleball and I talked to some of my friends there, and they said, it's on your property. You just need to talk to the right person. They set up an appointment for 1 p.m. today. Went down there, talked to a few people, very friendly. They said, we need these documents. I'm like, at 2 p.m. I'm going to have them. Contacted the Perito. He's like, I'm at your house now. When I asked him to show up at the city hall to help us, he's like, I'm at your house now. So I ran back here, got the documents, ran back there, gave them to him. Okay. Then they're like, what about, because I have the license, the permit to do the work. They're like, what about the permits? Do you have the plans for that? So now I contact the architect, Luis. Fortunately, he was like 2 minutes away, so he comes by. I don't know anything. Like, we're paying for a permit here. We don't know. We just are kind of trusting this whole process throughout. So anyway, so we finally get to the director, and this is where things fall apart. We thought we were moving in a good direction. We were in there for probably 2 hours. We talked for 2 minutes. It was him and Luis, our architect, were going back and forth. That was a little bit difficult because he really was fairly smug throughout. He's like, this is all for your benefit. Like, we're doing this for you. Like, we're giving you these services. We're giving you this electricity, and we're giving you these the drainage, all the things that we're fighting for, and all the things they're not giving us, water, and this is all for you guys. And and he's like, you can sue, do whatever you want. In 3 days, we're tearing it down. Like, that's what's happening. He's like, this Perito, he's a private. He's just a Perito that we hired. We don't have a relationship with him whatsoever. So, and the other thing is, you pay a notary 60,000 pesos basically to give you your exact measurements to avoid this exact situation. Yet somehow here we are. So that's just what he said. The only thing I told him, I'm like, you understand that we pay for the services. Like, you're not giving, it's not a gift, the services. We pay for these. That's where we're at. It's frustrating, but there's all we can do is control how we handle this, and we're trying to handle it the best that we can. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. We'll do our best to make do with whatever the end result is, and we'll keep you informed here in a couple days. All right, thanks. Take care.